Hey, Sound Up fans, it's Mark Goodman here. To stay connected to everything happening in the world of music, make sure to subscribe to this podcast, Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light. Join the conversations, experience live events, and be a part of the podcast. To get in on the action, check out our website at sounduppod.com. Like and follow us on social media at sounduppod and email us at connect@sounduppod.com.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
This week on Sound Up, Art Alexakis of Everclear joins us to discuss their tour celebrating the 30th anniversary of Sparkle and Fade.
Also, Deep Purple rocked the Stranger Things 5 trailer. The Who launched their farewell tour in Italy with, of course, a new drummer. Steve Miller gets bad press after canceling his tour due to weather. And inevitably, the Coldplay jumbotron incident.
Hell yes. Of course, we've got your comments, reviews, and our new music picks of the week. All right, so welcome to Sound Up. We've got a bunch of stuff that we just laid out for you. I know, Alan, you went to some live music this weekend, as did I.
Yeah, we got some shows in, and there's also other stuff rattling around out there. Just quick, wanted to mention a singer I brought up a couple of weeks ago because she has some new music out, a British R&B singer, kind of throwbacky soul singer named Olivia Dean, who I will credit my wife for getting me to listen to. And she came through, Olivia came through and played the Brooklyn Paramount, a sold out Brooklyn Paramount last week. And I'm still putting her on the one to watch list. She's got that, she had the horns, she had the backup singers, like there's a little bit of Winehouse. She's not tortured like Amy, but a little bit of that Winehouse thing. The way that those UK soul singers, whether it's Adele or Amy or Duffy or whoever, are able to tap into that classic old school R&B thing. Olivia Dean has got that. She's young. The songs are a little samey right now. She's got to get some more stuff done, but it opened up through the set, and she's got a really nice voice. The songs that are good are really good. And it feels like it's one of those where like the right song could really break her to a bigger audience. So it was fun to see her. And I got to say, not a small venue, a couple of thousand people at the Brooklyn Paramount, all singing every word to every song. Like she's got a bass, and it feels like there's something that's going to light the match and put her out there. So I want to bring her to your attention again and say, give a minute for Olivia Dean, because I think later down the road, you're going to want to say you were in on her early.
Is anyone playing her?
I mean, I think there's some soundtracky stuff. I think, obviously a lot of playlisty stuff. I don't know that there's any like radio, right. But there's absolutely space for what she does in the sync and soundtrack world for sure, right. Since it's got that kind of feel to it. So that's the one show I'll say I watched about half of the first episode of the Billy Joel documentary on HBO. Curious if people out there watched and had thoughts. Maybe you check in next week after the second half goes up this coming Friday. It's a lot. I mean, it's 4.5 hours of Billy Joel is right. A lot. There's a lot of story, but it's gonna take a little discipline, I feel like, to pull through this one.
Yeah, I would vote in favor of holding off. Certainly want to hear from you, Pod Squatters, who saw it and liked or disliked. It is a real lot, and I want to check out both sides, both parts before I weigh in. Right now, I'm partially dubious. Is that fair?
Fair, always fair.
Well, that was kind of good.
So some big swing music projects right now. Again, we're in the middle. The second of the 4-part Live Aid series went up on Sunday. Got to catch. I was not home to be able to catch that, and I couldn't find it streaming last night. I guess they maybe put it up on a delay. So we'll go back and catch that one. But some big ones that are out there getting a lot of attention. Curious if you guys are watching and have any thoughts.
I talk about expansive, for God's sake, a 4-part series. Admittedly, each episode is about an hour, but still, It's a lot. For what little, I mean, you don't want to get into reviewing it just yet, do you?
We talked about last week about that first
Yeah.
episode and what that was. So maybe by next week if we're 3 in and caught up, we can check back in with it. So,
but there is, for those who saw it, there was some cool footage that I had not seen before. Rehearsal footage of people getting ready for the show, which I thought was really, really cool, and some commentary on Queen from Sir Bob, who was like, he thought they were a joke. So
and yet jokes on him.
Well, he ate his words. He admitted it. He said, I guess we all learned that I was wrong, basically. But that was just one moment in there that I thought was great. And I'm curious. I haven't heard, even on my radio shows, I'm talking about it. I don't know if people are reserved or if they're not watching it as much. I haven't heard anything
about the Live Aid stuff.
Yeah.
I think they made a real big mistake making this a 4-part series that extends past the anniversary.
Yeah,
so I feel like the momentum
probably should have ended on the anniversary, right?
Exactly.
Or put all 4. I don't know if the CNN does it, but do all of them on that day,
right? Exactly,
just to be able to capitalize on the excitement. I think that's right. You're not going to get to the actual event until several weeks after the anniversary. It kind of diffuses the attention a little bit. So meantime, you got to a show you want to talk about, I know.
I did. Cyndi Lauper. How many times have I seen her over the years? And the last time, Alan, you and I were at was for the documentary for Let the Canary Sing, when she did a little bit of performance after. And that was 2 years ago, was it?
Well, at least.
I mean,
I guess it's after 21 because we were there in person. So could be 3 years ago, but yeah.
So and at that point, I hadn't seen her in probably a decade. And I was impressed at how great she sounded. And the same goes for seeing her at Jones Beach this past weekend. She doesn't run around the way that she used to and do the crazy dance moves the way that she used to, but so what?
But who does?
Who does? I was just thinking Stevie Nicks doesn't do any of that stuff either anymore. The thing that amazed me, I mean, she's 65, I want to say, and she did not one of my favorite Cyndi Lauper songs, Goonies, and she hit those high notes, that I. She's hitting those high notes. So, okay, I'll take it. It felt good to see her be that, sound that great. The place was packed, and she's another one of those artists. Hit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh yeah, I remember that one. She didn't go off too far afield. I mean, if you're familiar with Cyndi, over the years, she's taken some left turns and really tried, I think to her credit, to be not just that wacky 80s pop artist.
She did
way more talented.
She did the blues album. She did the country album,
which
certainly
they tanked. But having said that, I thought she did a great job on those records. Like, people just don't want that from Cyndi. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it was she was really entertaining and really fun. One of the things that I think that she was trying to do is, and I don't know whether she was resting her voice or what, she spent a fair amount of time talking to us and talking not specifically about songs, but talking about her life and her career and her parents and growing up. And it really was, so I'm going to leave you now, so let me tell you these stories kind of a thing. Very personal. It didn't feel forced. And the other part of it for her, which I loved, costume changes, a bunch of them. But there was this coordination. Like, she came out, she was wearing basically all black and some insane, I don't know, it looked like a spacesuit or something. I have no idea what it was. But she did a couple of costume changes, and the band, everyone in the band was dressed in some form of black on one side, white on another. There's a guy who does backing vocals with her, whose name escapes me at the moment, but he was wearing a half a jacket. Like it's one, like the arm and the shoulder, and then it was attached by belts around his waist so that the other arm and shoulder you saw his white shirt. And that kind of theme was echoed through everyone in the band in their own way. And she did that on purpose to play up against the screens behind her, which were showing all kinds of incredible artwork, paintings, modern things that she was taken with, artists that she was taken with. And she made a point of saying, for me, at one moment she said, for me, she talked about costume changes and what she was trying to do on stage. But for me, it's all about art. And she pulled off her wig. She was wearing, an orange wig, and she had the skull cap that women wear when you put on a wig. And it was like, you see, I'm going to let you in on who I am. And then she just went off and did a couple of songs like after a costume change like that. So the end result I felt even closer to her. She shared, and the fact that she went through like every imaginable hit. She did a couple like Sisters of Avalon. She did Sally's Pigeons. That's as far afield as she went. Okay. And she set that up really nicely. So I appreciated it. She just killed, wound up. Money Changes Everything was the final song in the set, and the final song of the night. Guess what? Girls just want to have fun.
You don't follow that,
right? But her encore was Shine, another song, like a more current song about a big thing that was part of her show was her support of the LGBTQ plus community. And she talked about that quite a bit and waved a flag at one point during a song. So the first encore song was a song called Shine, where she did bring out off out of a box or something. It came up and she just all of a sudden turned up with it and holding it over her head, and it was billowing like she had a fan on it. And then went into True Colors and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And it was glorious. It was great, got to say.
You were not the only person to see Cyndi Lauper this past week or so. One of our Pod Squad. No, one of our Pod Squad fans went to see Cyndi as well, and a little bit more. This comes from Mandy. Hello, Sound Up. My friend and I went to one of the first shows of Cyndi Lauper's farewell tour on Thursday night. It was a hot night at a shed in Massachusetts, but Cyndi looked amazing and sounded great. The sets and costumes all eccentric as you would expect from Cyndi. The band was fun and she featured them throughout. She opened with classic bangers She Bop, Goonies Are Good Enough, and When You Were Mine. A lot of storytelling in between, which I enjoyed. In fact, she mentioned how her first band, Blue Angel, covered Bad Company, and now how excited she is to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Bad Company this year. She finished the main set with Money Changes Everything and still had all the moves from 1985. Shine and True Colors were amazing encores, super moving to be a part of. And what can you say when she closes with Girls Just Want to Have Fun? So fun. Now here's where her review takes an interesting turn. As a side note, my husband was at the Coldplay show the night before at Gillette with his friends. He really didn't have a lot to say about the show when he got home, but immediately mentioned the jumbotron incident. So over the next few days to watch it blow up was interesting. I feel bad for some parties involved, but considering how much my husband paid for his mid-tier ticket, $700, glad he had something to talk about and an unlikely reason to remember the show. All the best, Mandy and Pat in Massachusetts.
Mandy and Pat, you guys are the best.
Okay, they were cheating, but still, like, oh, what a sucky way to get caught. Oh, like in front of the entire world.
As every meme seems to have it, what a way to find out that your husband likes Coldplay. As we pivot into some news, what is there?
Chris,
what is there to say?
By the way, Chris, I want to say, was it either last night? I'm not sure when this actual show was. Was that Friday night, I think? But the show, I think last night, Chris, before he did that song where they go to the jumbotron, warned the audience.
Yes, in Madison, Wisconsin. This was on Saturday. Leading into the jumbotron song, he said, we'd like to say hello to some of you in the crowd. How we're going to do that is we're going to use our cameras and put some of you on the big screen. So please, if you haven't done your makeup, do your makeup now. And at the Madison show, it should be pointed out, no couples were shown during the Jumbotron song. They did not even take the chance after the incident with CEO of Astronomer Andy Byron, who has resigned after he was seen embracing the company's chief human resources officer, Kristen Cabot, at that Gillette Stadium gig.
See, wouldn't you think, why would he have to? He's with the HR person. They can give him a pass.
So let me ask you this. In the bizarro world we live in, this guy goes,
anything should start with that.
Yeah. This guy goes to this show to watch a concert, not be part of a concert. Does he have could he sue Coldplay? Could he say, hey, you guys put me on screen. You ruined my career. Does he have anything?
Without knowing specifically like what was on the ticket, oftentimes they say, by being in the audience, you agree to be,
right,
blah, blah. So,
but I mean, this is the biggest thing to happen to Coldplay. This is their biggest hit in a long time.
It's also true. Another big joke. They haven't had a single in a bunch of years, but they got two of them coming off of that show.
Oh. And all the more reason, why are you warning people? You want more of this. You guys are out there catching people. You're doing a service.
On the one hand, I'm so tired of seeing every joke and every meme and every variation. On the other hand, when at the Phillies game the other night, they had the Philly fanatic embracing and then recoiling on the camera. I gotta respect that a little bit. So.
For our AI savvy Sound Up Pod Squatters out there, feel free to make a Mark Goodman Alan Light version and send it to me. I would love that.
Don't challenge them with that.
Thanks for that, Roger.
So yeah, everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it, and somehow that is the big music story of the week. So what are we going to say? The one thing in this dumpster fire of a country that we are living in right now, it does seem the one thing that can unite everybody is some bad karma for a tech billionaire at this moment in history. Seems like the one thing everybody can get behind.
Agree. Something tells me by next year he will no longer be a billionaire.
Oh, man. I know. I feel bad for both of them. I really do. I don't know.
I don't.
I know. I shouldn't feel bad. They were doing a naughty thing, but I don't know. Just a quick question before we move on. Was she married, the HR person?
I don't believe so. You can easily correct me on this, but I haven't seen any coverage of a spouse for her.
It was a double whammy.
That. Yeah, take them on all sides. So conscious uncoupling? Was that Chris and Gwyneth thing? I don't know if they're fully conscious.
It's uncoupling on camera consciously.
Yes.
Elsewhere, we've got some, everybody is talking about the return of Stranger Things, and Metallica and the Eddie Munson character might be out of the picture for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. But judging by the show's latest trailer, heavy metal still a big part of Stranger Things. This is out of Variety magazine. Amid now familiar apocalyptic scenes with the show's cast, we hear a bombastic riff buttressed by a symphonic arrangement and high-pitched operatic wailing that is a definitive example of the kind of heavy metal singing often referred to as air raid siren. I'm sure Ian Gillan would appreciate his voice being referred to as an air raid siren. The show takes place, of course, in the 80s, but they've broken the tradition. The song is one of the most popular tracks by Deep Purple, Child in Time, a legendary epic. I think it's like 9 minutes or something, or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
From In Rock. Deep Purple In Rock was one of the biggest albums at that moment. Much of the instrumental backing apparently new, lots of strings and synthesizers, mostly obscuring the original organs and guitars. The vocals do indeed appear to be Deep Purple's Ian Gillan, along with brief elements of the band's instrumental work. That's pretty cool. The song's deafening volume appears to be key to its use as the trailer opens with the Steve Harrington character queuing up a song at the 50,000-watt WSQK radio station, apparently planning to use it as a weapon against the monsters who are, wow, am I out of touch? Wow. The monsters who are gearing up for yet another assault on the citizens of Hawkins, Indiana. Deep Purple reps and Netflix reps not responding for clarification, but pretty impressive.
Are you?
I'm way behind on this.
This is definitely gonna. I'm curious to see what this does to Deep Purple streams.
Yeah. I mean, look
industry
what's happened with this show with so many other artists. It'll be interesting.
And now the Stranger Things Broadway show, and like they have made,
which I've seen, by the way, the Stranger Things Broadway show. It's a prequel. I'll just quick. My daughter dragged me to it. To be honest, she's a big fan, and
I didn't think you went on your own, Mark.
I had no interest, even though it's a prequel, because I was out after the second season of Stranger Things. But they do stuff on the stage show. There's a lot of people listening who may be wandering to New York this summer. It's amazing the stuff that they do on stage. I mean, it's one thing to do it on video with special effects and computer generated stuff, but they do amazing things on stage with this prequel, and it's pretty interesting. You don't have to have seen the series. I'll just point you towards that and say, go if you're around. The other thing I wanted to mention about this story, though, from Variety, it says Child in Time was one of the early epics of heavy metal, clocking in at nearly 10.5 minutes, a soft opening, inspired by the song Bombay Calling by the British band It's a Beautiful Day, which is wrong. Beautiful Day was a San Francisco band. I don't know of a Brit band called It's a Beautiful Day that had a song called Bombay Calling. But
call him out, Mark. Put him on the jumbotron.
Well, it's very unlike our friend Jem Oswald who wrote this story to be wrong. I part of me wants to say, okay, maybe I don't know about this band, but that was the one little thing that stuck out with me in the article. So Deep Purple is back.
Speaking of back, after much hoopla and anticipation, The Who finally started their farewell tour over the weekend with the first of 2 concerts in Italy. Pete and Roger were joined on stage by long-standing collaborators Simon Townsend, keyboardist Lauren Gold, and John Button playing the bass, and Scott DeVores on the drums, replacing Zach Starkey for reasons still not entirely determined. They played 20 songs. As noted, hits pretty much top to bottom, opening with I Can't Explain and Substitute, closing with Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again. In between, Who Are You, Bargain, Pinball Wizard, Behind Blue Eyes, 5:15, Love, Rain or Me, Eminence Front, My Generation. It's that kind of a Who set. Usually there's some theme concept structure to the latter-day Who tour. I think the concept is, this is the last time we're going to come to your town and play these songs. So we're going to kind of play all of them. And they're off and running. The North American leg begins on August 16th in Sunrise, Florida, ends on September 28th in Las Vegas. And there's still no plans, no announcements for a final run through England, which they are just complaining about. Roger Daltrey says, touring America is a damn sight easier. The UK has decided to make it as difficult as possible to go from point A to point B. He's not confident any British dates will take place, calling the nation the land of no. To be fair,
like Sabbath did.
To be fair, that, Roger is prone to complain.
Yeah.
This is a thing that I was with a friend from the UK, over last week, and he was talking about the incredible difficulties of touring in England and
I
how
don't understand.
difficult
their railway system was massive, and the highway system in Europe. What's the problem? I don't understand.
I know it's paperwork. It's payments. It's all kinds of stuff that it's challenging, and post Brexit, you can't just do it as part of your Europe dates in the way that you could. So it's a whole separate thing. So let's see. Right. As the focus from can Liam and Noel keep it together on stage through a tour, now can also shift to can Pete and Roger keep it together on tour.
I don't know about you. I have way more faith in Pete and Roger than I do in the guys in Oasis.
Done it a whole lot more times.
But, right? But hell, you got to see The Who one last time, right? And Roger, right? One more time, one show in Britain, Hyde Park, maybe invite Jeff Lynne for a guest spot, do a song or two.
Yep. Have a jumbotron, put it all together.
Right? Have a jumbotron. That's it.
Every solution to everything now.
That's right. Every show should have one now.
So that tour started, but then there's this one.
But then there's one that balked and is not starting. No jumbotron, no tour. Steve Miller, you probably heard about this before the weekend, and Steve has been accused of lying about the real reason his upcoming tour was canceled, and his longest-serving bandmate is fighting back. Kenny Lee Lewis, who has played guitar or bass for Steve Miller since 1982, rushed to his boss's defense against fans and critics who claimed the group's summer tour was canceled because of soft ticket sales and not the fear of extreme weather, as he declared, as Steve declared last Wednesday night. Combination of extreme heat, unpredictable flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, and massive forest fires make these risks for you, our audience, the band, and the crew unacceptable. Miller he said in a post calling off the 28-day tour, which was due to kick off August 15th. Some fans didn't buy the story, accused Miller of covering up for low ticket sales. Some even posted what they said were Ticketmaster sales pages. Ouch. Showing numbers of unsold seats. A guy named Bob Lefsetz, who writes endlessly on the industry, went off on Steve Miller before the weekend as soon as that announcement came out. Where do you guys come down on this? It feels shady.
Listen, many people have canceled tours due to poor ticket sales and made up other reasons. We've seen that a lot. No one has made up the most ridiculous reason being potential weather.
Potential weather, exactly.
Like, does Steve Miller have a Doppler in his backyard? Whoa.
What kind of stars have to align that the tornado and the Steve Miller Band show wind up connecting at the same point at the same moment?
Right. Unless he booked his tour through Hurricane Alley, through hurricane season. I don't get it. Or just move the tour indoors.
Some of these were indoor dates. I think even those were canceled as well, I believe. So look,
this might be humid in there.
The concern is genuine. The rise for extreme, the concern about rising extreme weather is a legitimate thing. And for smaller scale, I mean, we've talked about this, that the margins on touring, particularly for smaller acts, for club acts, for acts that are touring in a van, it's risky. You lose a couple of dates. If you lose a couple of dates for whatever reason, this was coming back off of lockdown. If you lost a couple of dates because somebody did get COVID and you had to shut it down, that would swing you from making money to losing money on the tour. It is a different, you're playing with different cards than you were before. But I don't think that is true in the same way at the scale of what a Steve Miller tour is, of what a bigger tour is with bigger, margins everything is more expensive to put together. Risks are greater, but I don't think that it's if you lose a show or two, it, jeopardizes the entire enterprise in the way that it does for smaller acts.
Chrissy Hind is quoted in this story about this cancellation as well. He made Steve Miller made some comments about on-stage air coolers and ice packs and flexible ducts and so on. And Chrissy said his ice pack comments mirror a social media post by Chrissy Hind in June. I'm remembering the last couple of years we supported Guns N' Roses and then the Foo Fighters in stadiums. It was so hot, I had to strap ice packs around my wrist. And I realized that the outdoor events are going to come to an end. It's too hot, says Chrissy. Still, I don't think you cancel for weather in advance of weather. I'm sorry.
Unless he just decides, unless it's just a decision, I don't want to have to deal with this.
With makeup dates or whatever, I don't know. It seems a shame, especially at this late date. I don't know. He's getting on in years as well. He didn't call this a farewell tour or anything, but how many more years does he have?
We've not heard any further from Steve Miller, since the announcement. So be curious if he sits down and talks this through with anybody to speak his piece.
Yeah.
Or if he doesn't, and what that means.
I think he needs to. Definitely needs to. So there we go with a fast look at some music news. We're excited. We have a very special guest today. Art Alexakis is here, and I can't believe that it has been 30 frickin' years. 30 years since Sparkle and Fade, a platinum album at that. And Art is going to be here to join us and talk about the album, 30th anniversary, and the upcoming tour that's happening next here on Sound Up. Welcome back. It is Sound Up, and as promised, special guest joining us. Art Alexakis formed Everclear in Portland, Oregon, 1992. Everclear has released 11 studio albums, the last being Black is the New Black. Love that title. Out in 2015. We've gotten a number of EPs as well, and in 2022, Everclear released the live album, Live at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Through it all, Art Alexakis has been the lead writer and singer, overseeing the numerous lineup changes, record company broken promises and disappointments, turmoil in his personal life, both physical and mental. All of that has not slowed Art down. In celebration of the 30th anniversary of their major label debut, Sparkle and Fade, Everclear setting out on a U.S. tour with old friends Local H and Sponge. Hell yes. It's happening in LA. Things kick off September the 4th. Art Alexakis, so great to see you again. Welcome.
So great to see all of you, Alan, Roger, my old friend, and Mark. It's so good to see you again, man.
Hey, man.
I kind of grew up with you when you had the hair.
Yeah, yes, the hair. You remember the hair.
Gets that a lot.
Thank you.
I still got a little bit. I got some. Thanks for, you know what? You just nailed everything. There was nothing I had to fix.
Oh, good.
That was pretty amazing.
I want to start off, if I can. There's a lot going on with you. I just sort of laid out some of it. A 40-date tour. It's a big tour. You got that stretching out. 43. Some dates have been added. Okay. Glad to hear that. And with all that in front of you, and it's an effort, I got to ask you how you're feeling.
Does it clean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. I'm sure you're referring pretty much to the MS.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I was diagnosed with MS in 2018, which is 9 years ago. And even then they told me I'd had it for at least 20 years. So to answer your question, I'm doing pretty good, man. We're playing more shows this year than we have played since I met Roger back in 93, 94?
Yeah, 93, yeah.
When we were doing like 150 shows a year. And this year, all is said and done, it'll be 127. And I just feel blessed, man, that we get to work. And I don't know if it's the 90s thing. I think it's partly that, but it's also, like a 90s revival kind of thing. But I think a large part of it is that we go out and we play really hard. We take care of the fans. We take care of the promoters. We show up when we're supposed to. And a lot of bands don't do that. Bands who've had success just kind of have lost that edge. And we've never lost that. We're still an old school rock band. We don't play with tracks. We don't play with tuning. We go out and you get a real rock show.
Yeah.
Is that, taking on an accelerated schedule, taking on more dates? Is that just, you want to use it while you got it? Is there a different urgency around it now? Why be, turning up the jets at this stage?
Well, bands, you guys are all pretty versed in the music business for many, many years. You know that musicians, for the most part, don't make that much money. We do okay when things are hot, when the skillet's hot, right? There's no pension. There's no back end for musicians. So I'm working because I have to work. But Alan, you kind of nailed it. There is a sense of urgency. I don't walk with a cane yet. I have problems walking. I don't walk. It isn't sexy. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm 63. I do physical therapy 3 times a week. I work out at home. When my pool's going to be back up again, I swim every day. because
That's really great.
It's perfect for anyone, especially older people. And let's face it, we're all older, whether we like it or not. And but for MS, heat is an issue. So doing cardio, if I'm in the pool, I don't overheat. So if I swim every day, I feel great. I feel as good as I can. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I don't know when I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I don't know when I'm not going to be able to do this. So yeah, there is a sense of urgency. And thank God the guys in my band, who everyone wants to call the new guys, one's been 21 years, one's been in the band 17 years. The newbie's been in the band 11 years. So, and that's more than any of the guys that were on MTV back in the day. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I feel blessed to be able to do this. And, I'm 36 years clean and sober. So
hell yeah,
I work a program and the spiritual aspect is a strong part of it. And I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful I get to still talk to you knuckleheads,
right?
It's awesome. Aren't you grateful, Mark? Aren't you guys grateful?
I could just say, yeah, I'm grateful. No, I really, really am. I can't believe I get to do this still.
You've been doing this stuff since the 80s and beyond, man.
Dude, I've been in the music business for 45 years.
There you go. And I've been in the business, like I started tuning guitars for people when I was like 17, 18 years old and going on tours and what we need to like it. I'll do it.
I'm glad you guys are going out and you're not, the weather's not going to scare you, man. You're going out and you're going to face that weather, right?
Well, dig it. So we're going out every weekend from March till Christmas time, basically. We're playing every weekend. In September, we get on the bus for 2.5 months doing the bus tour. We're home for 2 weeks, but we're not really home. We're playing those weekends. And then on the 18th and 19th of November, we fly to Australia for 3.5 weeks. And then we're home a week before Christmas.
When you think back to Sparkle and Fade, do you think back to the recording of that album and who you were, what that moment was in your life? What comes to mind when you think about that era?
I was ferocious. Roger knew me. I was ferocious, man.
How did that manifest?
I made every interview. We would play 3 shows a day. We'd do an all ages show. We'd go play like SEMA, who was the distribution wing for EMI at the time, be like, can you go to the warehouse? We'd go play a couple songs there, play a show that night, and still had time for womanizing. And I mean, I was just ferocious. I was
nonstop,
clean and sober, but just, on fire and dragging everybody with me. And if you weren't willing to do it, boy, better get out of the way,
Yeah. Mark mentioned at the top, it's 30 years. That's what's happening. This tour is 30th anniversary tour, playing that album. Are those landmarks, is that meaningful? Is that a thing that it's 30 years? Or is it just, hey, this is one of those things that we did once upon a time? Does it put a different frame around it, or you think about it a different way when you attach a number like that?
Really good multi-tiered question. Let me see if I can hit all those points. It is a thing. It is a thing. I think to live and tell is a thing. 30 years in, and people are still coming to shows. We're still out shows on our tour. And here's the thing that really connects. I'd say about 25% of those people coming to shows or more, depending on the market, in their late teens, early mid-20s, late 20s.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. These kids weren't even born when these songs were on the radio and on MTV. So, yeah, that's a thing. And also, it's a little cringy. I mean, 30 years, look at me. Would you just look at me? It's just like, wow, we're still doing it. But you know what? People are so just, for the most part, lovely about just, wow, man, you're here, you're doing it. I can't believe you're doing it. I get people who have MS coming to shows and are on wheelchairs or on braces, and I always try to see them and make sure that they're in a line of view of whether it's MS or whatever, because as we get older, everybody knows somebody or has someone in their family that has something, right?
Yeah, man.
And the older you get, you start outliving people. That's a perspective. Alan, your question's great. It's just like taking all that into consideration. Man, it's just like when I think about where we were in 1994, we had just gotten signed. I remember we were on tour for the first time, we had booked a kind of crappy tour and no one was showing up, but we had all these traveler's checks in our pockets. And I go to my ATM with the Pavlov's dog response of like, shit, I hope it's not under, right? And there's like $100,000 in there, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Where'd that come from?
And I've got like literally traveler's checks are falling out of our pockets. Not a year earlier, I was going out on tour without a major label and our lights got turned off the night I was supposed to leave. And I called a friend of mine who was a promoter in Portland and asked him to borrow money so my wife and my daughter wouldn't be cold and had power in the house. Literally. That's a true story.
It's crazy.
By the way, I'm working on a memoir right now. It's going to be good.
I have a question for you about this record too, because you talk about how long you've been clean and sober. And I always looked at this record as kind of that bridge between the old you before you cleaned up and who you kind of became. And it's like, where does it land for you though, when you go back and look lyrically about what this album's about?
That's actually a really good question and a really good perspective, because at the time I was 5 years sober when I made this record. But I don't know if you guys know anybody who's sober. 5 years, you get cocky. You're cocky at 5 years. You're like, I could have a little drink. That's be a problem, And then you wake up and, next to the lady who has the donkey in Tijuana in jail. And, things aren't looking so good. So I thank God that didn't happen, because I never lost sight of the fact that I was powerless over it. And when I had surrendered on June 15th, 1989, I surrendered. And even though I was dry drunk at times during that period, especially when success happened. And I've been married 4 times. It's not an accident, as Roger probably can attest to seeing me back in the day. But the greatest thing about it is, unlike a lot of people in our business, I learned from it. And I've been with my wife now going on 21 years. And we have a 17-year-old who's at a college camp just killing it this year. She wants to be a fashion designer. And man, so when you put it like that, I mean, it's like when we made that record, that was the first time I had money to make a record. And not only that, a record label behind it that had not just money, which is important, to put fuel in the car, but they had people who knew how to work radio, who knew how to work marketing, who knew how to do all this stuff. And so I felt like we had the car built, but we didn't have an engine until 1994. And that's when the engine kicked in. And I was really I took advantage of it as much as I could. I go toe-to-toe with my A&R guy. We argued over Santa Monica. He insisted Santa Monica wasn't finished when I turned it in. And was he right? Well, I changed it to the way he wanted it. And it
seems like it worked.
Have you, in looking back and thinking about making of this record and what the subject matter was there, I mean, you're a very writers, and you in particular, it's about your life. That's what goes into those songs. Have you?
Some of it.
So yeah. But I mean, you have to. I get like nervous thinking about someone in your position all of these years later. You ever get writer's block? How do you keep on coming up with songs?
Well, the fact that our country and our world's basically on fire right now.
Lots of fodder to write about.
A lot of grist for the mill, right? And it still pisses me off. So that's good. I'm not, I don't just go, oh, whatever, someone else's problem. And I know a lot of guys like that from the 90s and the 80s and even the 2000s that are playing golf and just waiting for the checks to come in every month, the mailbox money. And that's what they do. That ain't me. I still find things to write about. And yeah, I get writer's block at times. I mean, I work with people songwriting. I'm like I'm a life coach on 3 different levels, and I work with people in songs, people in sobriety, people just creatively, and it's something that I've learned a lot of tricks, and I know other people have learned tricks to get through it, and just it's a lot of times it's redirection, right? It's just taking a break, and focusing on something else. And then this comes into view. It's like a camera. You focus over here, this gets kind of foggy. And then when you turn it over there, it's sharper, if that makes any sense. But from a creative point of view, I just feel like my writing, like I was writing 35, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Maybe not. I'm not 30 years old.
I thought Mark was going somewhere else with that question. So I'll go with, usually when you're doing a regular set, you can pull the stuff you want to do. You got the hits you got to play, but you can do the songs that feel like that's something I want to address or say or think about right now. For you to commit to, we're going to do this album, and you've done this before, where we're going to do the full albums on the anniversary. Where does that take you to? Because then it's the full range of where you were at that time. It's stuff that maybe you can still tap into, maybe feels really different now, maybe, you live with or not. But once you make that jump to, we're doing this full project, is there something that you learn from that, or a different journey that you go through putting that up on a stage?
Absolutely. I mean, we're in the process of doing it. We did it in 2015 for the 10-year anniversary. We play a lot of songs from Sparkle and Fade, basically side one. We play all of side one. So we're in the process of going through and learning the songs from side two and playing them at shows, because you can rehearse something all you want. You've got to play it live. You got to make those mistakes live, or it doesn't really take. But going back through them, I'm kind of blown away a lot of times, because I'm like, wow, that's really clever. I did that. I'm like, okay.
Beautiful. You learn the pleasant surprise. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have, I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm sure, my memory isn't 100% like it used to be. As far as where it takes me, I'm not a big nostalgia guy. I think nostalgia is, to a certain extent, is healthy. I think connecting, and I think a lot of us, hopefully the survivors among us, have learned to glom onto the good things in our memories and in our nostalgia, and not the roadblocks and the pitfalls and in my case, the crevices. A lot of times I created myself. A lot of times were created for me. And I keep coming back to this word. I'm just grateful, Alan, that I feel like I've learned enough that I can just be present with it, be present with the good stuff, the bad stuff, and just celebrate it. And honestly, and just the fact that I live to tell.
You said earlier that you're not religious, but you're spiritual. And I know that one of the things that one can do when dealing with MS in terms of keeping your energy is meditation. Do you do something like that? Is there, what is the spiritual half of you?
Well, the meditation also is part of my sobriety, every day. Prayer, meditation, it's kind of the same thing. I believe that we're all a part of God. I believe that there's an afterlife. I believe a lot of those things. I believe a lot of Christian values. I would call myself a Christian. A lot of stuff I don't believe. We don't need to get into that, but I don't believe in the stuff that is hypocritical. I don't believe in the stuff that's judging. I don't believe in Christian nationalism. I believe in spirituality. And I think that's where it all started. And to me and my wife, who is not an alcoholic, is not a drug addict, but she is the adult child of a couple of alcoholics and married to an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic and drug addicts. She goes to Al-Anon, and she learned that from me, seeing me really, really get back into going to meetings again during COVID, when I found out our good friend, Matt P., who, just survived a massive stroke. And I see him probably every week. He's doing phenomenal. And, he turned me on.
I can't believe that guy, how many lives does Matt Pinfield have, for God's sake?
It pisses me off.
For people who don't know, I mean, everybody knows Matt Pinfield from MTV, but I don't know if they know that, what was it, maybe 2 years or 3 years ago, the guy was hit by a frickin' car.
Hit by a cab. Yeah, and he was in the hospital for a long time.
He was in the hospital, and he came back stronger than ever, better than ever.
And then?
And then
he was on me.
He 4 months ago, maybe 5, 6 months.
No,
he had a stroke.
Beginning of the year.
And I went to go see him. Like I had to leave for New Zealand a week after the fire. And my family, we were in a hotel for almost 5 months, but I had to go, right? I had to go make a living. And I get back and I kept checking in with Matt's daughter. One of his daughters was just a wonderful person. And I went and saw him when I got back. He was in a vegetative state. And I'm like, oh man, this is a wrap. Even this guy's not going to survive this. And now he's out like hiking.
Yep.
Right.
So when we before we close you out, we got a couple of lightning round questions we want to ask. But one thing before we do, you mentioned before, we said we were out with Local H and Sponge, and you mentioned at the top the opportunity may be coming through sort of, the 90s thing right now. Do you have a sense, what's the standing of the 90s moment out there in the world right now? Do you feel like there's an upswing? There's a new interest or a different interest in what was happening then?
And do you feel like it's pushing nostalgia for the 80s out? Because
Mark gets sensitive about this because, if we shift to 90s nostalgia, he starts losing gigs.
Mark, you were still around in the 90s. You're still around. The hair was coming down a little bit, but you're still there. But to answer Mark's question, no, the 80s are, dude, there's so many 80s bands out there. We were just coming back, and the guys from Warrant were like, we see them at LAX almost every week. They're coming back from a show. They're like, we did 66 shows this year. I go, cool. We did 127.
We did double that.
And it's just, to me, if you're a rock band, you got some hits and people remember you and you did something at one time, people are going to show up if you go out there and you put on a show, and that's an aspect. But Alan, to answer your question, it's just a thing of like the young people that show up tell me that the 90s was the last vestige. Now, some of those are what we call heritage people, like they got it from their father or legacy.
Right.
They got it from their parents or their aunts or uncles or brothers and sisters. But the majority of them are kids, mostly Zoomers, Generation Z, that are hungry for rock and roll and are not getting that itch scratched today. And they think that the 90s was the last vestige, and they're using the word vestige, which is pretty impressive, and that of real rock and roll. And they just go on Spotify or whatever, and they go through the 90s bands, and they go on Wikipedia and the online. They're no stranger to this. For us old people who are still hunting and pecking, these kids are learning to type at 5, right? And it's just a whole different world. When I can turn my daughter on to a band anymore, I used to turn her on to bands. Now she's turning me on to bands, but I just turned her on to Turnstile. And she's like, oh my God, how did I miss that?
And she's supposed to be on top of that.
I know. And I'm sitting there going, music business, baby, you better Google it. You can Google it.
Has Everclear had a TikTok moment yet? Have you seen like your music being used and memes and stuff like that? Do you follow it? Do you look for it?
No. Do I follow and look for it? No. But is it out there? Yeah. I mean, it's like my daughter's friends will come to concerts with her and they'll be like, why aren't they the biggest band in the world? They're so good. Why aren't they playing Staples Center? And my daughter's like, they're doing fine. I don't want my dad any more famous than he is. She's got my sense of humor and my wife's sense of humor. And I mean, it's like to see, and by the way, those kids who come to the shows, they know every word to every song, not just the hits. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the older people, they came in with the hits and might know a little bit of this album and, Afterglow and Sparkle and Fade and the album after it, which were all multi-platinum. But the kids they don't really pay attention to that. They don't know what platinum is.
Yeah.
That isn't a thing for them. They're looking at your spends.
Streams. How many streams?
Right? That's what hits to them. And whether you're playing, these big festivals or not, that's what matters to them. To see them coming out to shows and just get excited. We played a show at the Regent here in LA last year. We're starting the tour this year. It's already sold out. This 13-year-old girl had told my guitar tech, I want to get up and play Heroin Girl, or not a hit, a fan favorite. And she gets up on stage and she fucking nailed it.
So, Mark, you want to fire off these into these?
We will. Before we let you go out of here, we got these questions. Roger came up with these, so if you don't like them, Roger.
Yeah, I will come.
Oh, well, you come up with them next time, Mark.
But give it to me.
So, all right, there's 3 questions off the dome. First one: which of your albums is most underrated?
Our last record, Black is the New Black. It's a heavier record. I wrote it because we had been on a tour that I started called Summerland, and it was that tour had Live and Filter and Sponge, and it was just a rock tour. And I'm like, man, I'm standing there with Freddie, my bass player, going, let's make a rock record. He goes, fuck yeah, let's make a rock record. And I think that's one of our best records we've ever made, lyrically and musically. But, it was after the fact, so it didn't get, and it was on a major label. So
all works. All right. Question 2, what is your favorite part of your live show?
When people sing back my lyrics to me, almost every song, but when we break it down and let them sing, whether it's 1,000 people, 500 people, or we've been doing some festivals this year, 50,000 people, going back to Woodstock and watching that. If you watch that, 350,000 people estimated at our stage were singing Santa Monica. And you can't make that shit up. You just can't.
All right, final question. What is your favorite song by your favorite band?
Of all time? Can it be an artist, not a band?
Yeah.
It's hard to pick one.
Right? What's your favorite
really
child?
Pick one.
I only have one.
I'm going to pick one. I think one of the best rock and roll songs ever created. And I'm a huge Beatles. I'm doing this because I saw the Beatles when I was 4 on Ed Sullivan. The last time they played.
Yeah.
Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. Still get watching that movie and watching them record that and watching Al Cooper coming. And I'd heard that story from various people that he really did that. And the bass player's like, it's in C right there. It's in C. And he started playing that note and you see Bob turn around and look, and it just seems so real to me that, and so just, I mean, it's almost like punk rock. I mean, it was just, what a fuck you song lyrically and to the world, because
and a great first line. That's one of my favorite
every
first
line.
lines too. But every line,
the fans didn't want him to do that. And it was just like, fuck you, Pete Seeger. I love you, brother, but good. I'm doing this.
I got no fight with that answer. All right.
All right, Alexakis, congratulations on your 30th anniversary of that album and September the 4th at the Regent in LA.
The hijinks began. So good to see you, Mark, Alan, Roger. Love you guys.
Welcome back to Sound Up. As always, we love hearing from you. You can connect with us. Connect at SoundUpPod is how you reach out via audio message and email. Connect at sounduppod.com.
We received this note from our friend Natalie. Natalie writes, hi, Mark and Alan. Just wanted to say hello and tell you both to keep up the great work. Been loving your podcasts. On another note, I saw Rick Springfield on his 80s tour last month and had a blast. I'll be seeing Wilson Phillips next month too. And I have to say it, I still want my MTV. It was the best. So thanks to Mark and all of you. Fond memories always.
Did I talk about seeing Rick?
I think so.
Did I?
I feel like we talked about Rick.
I can't remember.
Meantime, I hope you've been seeing and hope you appreciate the. I've been seeing around a lot. I want my NPR done in the font.
No, I haven't seen that
TV logo.
That's great.
Passing around, which is a nice tribute and sentiment to see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Pod Squad quite busy this week, as we also received this concert review from Pod Squatter Scott.
Hello, Sound Up. This is Scott, poolside in Houston, with another 60-second random commentary. First, congratulations on 100 episodes. Very nice milestone. And here's a quick plug. If you missed one of those 100 episodes, please download, like, and subscribe. Now on with the commentary. I recently saw the young Toronto indie pop band Valley. Great show, real drums, real guitars, solid vocals, and great energy. And the mostly 20-something audience knew every song, especially the hits from their 2024 album, Water the Flowers, Pray for a Garden. And here's an update from an earlier comment. Now that Benson Boone's album has dropped, I think Benson is probably more like Leo Sayer. Harry Styles and Freddie Mercury should be safe. I still got a few seconds, so here's a few quick new music suggestions. If you like EDM, Mark, check out the new album Chemistry by Chris Lake. Great dance grooves and lots of feature vocals. And for something on the quirky cool side, check out the new album Tough Times Never Last from the London-based septet named Kokoroko. They play a fusion of funk and a genre called high life. That's all for now. Thanks, guys. I'm listening.
Scott runs a tight ship, man.
He really does.
Summer is still upon us. Steve Miller will tell you it's hot out there. And it is time to start making decisions about this year's Song of the Summer, what that's going to be. We want to hear your thoughts. So please send us your picks for one of our next episodes. What is standing out for you as Song of the Summer? We were just saying, it's tough. It's not an easy breakaway thing here. There's not one thing that's dominant. I mean, there's that Alex Warren song, is a big thing. The Sabrina Carpenter, the new song, the Man-Child song kind of went, but it didn't hold the way that Espresso or Please, Please, Please held. I look at the charts. I think I said this the other week. There's all this stuff that's still Benson. Beautiful Things is still a top 20 single. Gaga and Bruno is still a top 10 single. Pink Pony Club is still a top 20 single. Like those are still so locked in that I don't know yet if there's anything that's kind of broken through to really claim summer 2025 yet. But we would love to hear from you. Connect at sounduppod.com. If there's anything that's going to be a defining song of the summer from where you sit.
For sure. I would love to hear what that is. I'm having trouble. Although last week, I said it, I had a G-Flip weekend.
Yes.
I went deep into her album, which is coming out in September, but the singles that are out now, including In Another Life, which I've listened to, that might be my song of the summer.
All right.
It's not really getting any radio play.
I was gonna say, there's
not going to be everyone's song of the summer.
There's stuff that's good. There's stuff that we like, but is there anything that's that, I mean, the Morgan Wallen record kind of blew everything off the table and off the charts for a while. The Kendrick and SZA song is still like, it just feels kind of frozen. Is there something that's going to be this moment?
Give it listens, give it thoughts, and we want to hear from you. If you have ideas about Song of the Summer, sounduppod.com. You can find us there, and feel free. Check in. It is time for, speaking of songs of the summer, perhaps, who knows, one of these could be. We still have better than 4 weeks. What do we have, six weeks or so of summer? We got time.
When you call it, but yep.
So we've got our new music picks of the week. I'll kick it off with one from guys who have been gone a while. Fitz and the Tantrums have been away. It's been 3, I think close to 4 years since their last album. And they were, Fitz in particular has talked at length about being a little nervous about coming back. They had some really great success with some of those songs. Hands Clap, you probably remember. And the whole band was nervous about, we got to have a hit. We got to have a hit. And a story that I think we've heard many times, once they tossed that aside, everything seemed to open up and the songs seemed to come. They released the title track for the new album a couple of weeks back. It's called Man on the Moon. The latest single is one called Okay, Okay, Okay. Okay. There's 3 okays. Fitz and the Tantrums. That's my pick for this week. Great song. And welcome back to Fitz.
All right. There's a bunch of stuff that came out last week. I should say that Friday was a pretty big day. I would point people to the new Robert Plant song. That is absolutely worth noting. New Margot Price song. A lot of stuff to like, but the two that I'm going to go with, the Leon Bridges with Hermanos Gutierrez song is super
close.
cool.
That's cool.
That was on there, but I'm going to go with two of them. One is new music from Nine Inch Nails. And the interesting thing about this is putting it out as 9 Inch Nails. It is the upcoming soundtrack to the Tron remake, reboot, whatever it is. So Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have been doing soundtracks and winning Oscars for them for years under their names. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are essentially the only permanent members of Nine Inch Nails at this point that exist. So it's a conscious decision to do a movie soundtrack and put it under the Nine Inch Nails name is what's interesting. Clearly, because of the Tron 90s thing, this is a very classic sounding Nine Inch Nails song called As Alive As You Need Me to Be. Has that, the old school, what we think of as Nine Inch Nails feel to it. A, sounds great, and B, just very interesting to put that frame around it. Still working in movies, but, bringing back that feel intentionally, I assume because of the nature of this project. So that was a cool thing to see happen. And the other song out, which I love, is a new song from King Princess. This one is called Cry, Cry, Cry. She announced recently the forthcoming album's coming in September called Girl Violence. This is the second single from that project. This is just a hit, man. A guitar song, a rock song, kind of an 80s, production feel, totally catchy hook. Michaela Strauss explains that this song is about a friendship with a lady that did not work out. Sometimes two divas create an explosion. So that hook, you're going to cry, cry, cry when you hear this. Going to be a big year for Michaela Strauss because later in this year, she's going to star in her first movie with Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue, a film about a Neil Diamond tribute act. We have talked about this. And also she's in the second season of Nine Perfect Strangers, co-starring alongside Nicole Kidman. So in addition to new music, a whole multimedia takeover from King Princess, we're fans. I know we talked about her and to her. Sometimes she goes a little dancier, goes a little darker. This is just a banging rock song. Cry, cry, cry. Give it a listen. So anyway, so we love it. So there are our new.
Wait, I got one.
Picks.
I got one this week.
You got one.
That's right. I do have one this week. And I do want to mention something. So I am really starting to notice the effect of TikTok, the effect of social media in general on new music. Go back, go through all your picks, go through where you picked from, whatever service you use. I would say 80% of the songs I went through were under 3 minutes, and a lot of them were under 2.5. Songs have gotten considerably shorter due to their use on social media. And artists are taking note and are adjusting the size, the length of songs.
I noticed that too, but I didn't associate it with that. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, yeah. I think that's been happening, and certainly that's true. And of course, earlier this year, we had the first ever under 30, well, not under 30 seconds, but under 45-second song to hit the pop chart, the Jack Black thing from the Minecraft movie.
Right. So anyway, so speaking of new music and songs of summer, this is already my pick for Song of Summer. This is a banger. Snoop Dogg dropped a song this week called Gifts. Now, he dropped an album earlier this year, so I don't know what this is going to be from, if it's just he had a song laying around, if he's got a project coming out. But this is, on one hand, it feels like classic Snoop, and on the other hand, it feels totally new. No guests. It's a simple beat with just an amazing rhyme and flow. It is some of his best work to date. This song is such a jam, and I'm hoping it gets at least a remix, because I think the right remix would make this Song of Summer, hands down.
And we don't know from what or what it's attached to or anything. Okay.
But check it out. It's so cool.
All right.
All right.
Looking forward to it. I did not even see that one, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're through our new music. And remember, if you want to hear the songs that we're talking about, simply search our Sound Up soundtrack playlist on Spotify. And don't forget the exclamation point. It's Sound Up, exclamation point. with Mark Goodman and Alan Light. Or maybe the easiest thing, just go to sounduppod.com and click the Spotify link.
And just like our friend Scott said, please remember to give us a 5-star review, like our Facebook page, make sure to check us out on all socials at sounduppod.com, and email us with text or voice at connect@sounduppod.com.
Right. Many thanks to Art Alexakis for joining us. And that ends it for Sound Up for this week. We'll catch you next week.
Sound Up is hosted by Mark Goodman and Alan Light, produced by Roger That Media, distributed by Revolver Podcasts. Theme music by Smile from Tokyo. For more information, go to sounduppod.com. Roger that.